Welcome to the podcast. This is Byron from Musical Miles Podcast. I am here with Mr. Cole Hartley.
Yes, sir.
We are here in Orem, Utah at Bootstock.
Correct.
Apparently this is the second year.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Did you play last year?
I did. I headlined it last year.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. So unfortunately I haven't met you and haven't had a chance to hear your music. Just to give you a little idea, what we do, Musical Miles Podcast is about the artist, number one.
Cool.
It's about the music, live music. My wife and I, picking her up at the airport here in a couple hours.
Oh, cool.
She's been out of town. But anyway, we're based out of southern Idaho, southeast Idaho.
Right on.
And met Daniel at the Braun Brothers reunion a couple weeks ago at the Roadhouse. And but what we're here to meet the artists, help promote your music, promote the venues, promote the festivals, the events, and share that so people can come and have this experience for themselves. We're going to share it with them through the podcast, and hopefully they're going to become fans of your music.
That'd be great.
And other venues. You know what? I've went to the BBR the first time 10 years ago, and at that event, besides Reckless and Mickey the Motor Cars and Cody Canada and Wade Bowen and all the standards, we saw American Aquarium, and we also saw William Clark Green.
Oh yeah.
And so now I'm a fan for the last 10 years.
William's awesome.
They're incredibly talented, all of them, and so and music speaks to each one of us differently.
It does. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So tell me real quick, your musical journey, where you started, where you got your start, and where you're at today. Because you're young. I have.
So I'm 25.
Yeah.
I started writing songs back in high school, just kind of as a hobby, and then about 4.5 years ago, decided to give it a shot and found a studio and worked my way up to Nashville, and then I've been recording out in Nashville since 2020.
Perfect.
And have been fortunate to open for a lot of big names, ranging from Lee Brice, Brad Paisley, Diamond Rio, William Clark Green, Mike Ryan, and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of cool to watch all of that take place in 4 years.
Well, did you have? Do you have a musical family? Does your mom or your dad play? Or?
I mean, my dad plays guitar, but he kind of sticks to 4 chords and the truth and just kind of does it for himself.
I can relate.
He bought me my first guitar when I was 6, and so I've been playing for about 19 years because of him.
Oh, good.
And then my mom can sing, doesn't, but can. And so,
that's cool that you have that inspiration. My parents bought me a guitar when I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't stick with it, right? So I still own it. I still have the original guitar, an old Yamaha. Yeah. And but in December I decided I'm going to force myself to play. So I play.
Good.
I play every day.
It's never too late to pick it back up.
And if I can do it, anyone can. Because I'm 60. I'm 63 and a half.
Oh, you're not.
And I am.
No way.
And I don't read music. I can read chords. I understand chords. And
believe it or not, I can't read music either.
There are a ton. My mother-in-law was a songwriter in Arizona.
Yeah.
Played the piano beautifully. She could play anything by ear. She couldn't read music.
That's how I learned, by ear.
So that's cool. Well, I hope someday that'll kick in. My wife and I laugh because she comes from a very musical family, and there's no one in my family has any musical talent whatsoever. And between the two of us, we could maybe fill a thimble with our musical talent, my wife and I. So, but what we lack in natural talent or ability to play, we more than make up for it in love of music. So So talk to me about. So you've been in Nashville, you've been working out there. Are you there permanently, or are you back and forth?
So I go back and forth between Nashville and here pretty frequently. So I live here in Utah. Okay. I'm based in Alpine, and then I go out to Nashville about every 2 months or 3 months or so. Okay. So I was actually just there last week recording 5 new songs, and so
cool.
Yeah,
cool. So you have music. Your music's available on all streaming platforms.
Yep. I've got about 30 or so songs that are released to every streaming platform. All the things. I put out an album back in April. 10 songs. It charted at number 39 on the top 100 for country music on iTunes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. It's called Breaking Horses, if your fans want to go check it out. But,
really? Yeah. So what made you title it Breaking Horses?
So there's a song on the track, or on the album, called Breaking Horses.
Okay.
And I was driving in southern Utah one day and just had the line, "Loving her is like breaking horses," pop into my head. And I was like, that's good. I got to do something with that. So I called up a buddy, his name's Jasper Charles, out in Nashville, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be in town next week. Let's get together and write this song. It's killing me. We got to get this song done.
Right.
So we went out there, and he doesn't have any experience with horses, but I grew up around rodeo and have lots of friends with horses and stuff, and so I knew enough.
Right.
And we tied in the correlation between breaking a horse and being in love, because breaking a horse takes time, hard work, effort, commitment.
That ties it all together. It really did, because I'm an old cowboy.
Oh yeah, you know how it is.
And so, in fact,
and
you're from Alpine.
Yes,
so,
sir. Yeah.
So is that where you were raised?
It is.
So you knew. Who was the coach at BYU? Buck.
Mendenhall.
Mendenhall. So his dad and his uncle. I used to ride cutting horses, so I knew.
Oh, gotcha.
Guys. So anyway.
Yeah, cutting horses are so cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun.
So that's why we called it Breaking Horses.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's great. So have you done most of your songwriting as a collaboration, or do you do a lot of it on your own?
Most of it I do on my own.
Okay.
I've got, out of the 30 or so songs that I've put out, there's probably 4, maybe 5 of them that I wrote with other people. Other than that, I've done them all myself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to listening to your music.
Well, thank you.
And because I become a new fan every day. You know, I find new music, and once again, not all music resonates with everyone.
Right.
But I think there's just a pure love of live music, and then music in general. When you hear a good tune and you actually can relate to the lyrics or the storytelling process that goes with it. So,
yeah, no, I agree.
So, well, cool. Well, tell us your name again.
I'm Cole Hartley.
Cole Hartley, and you live here in Utah County.
Yep.
And you've got lots of music on Spotify and Apple and all the streaming platforms. Well, listen, we encourage you to tell all your friends about Musical Miles Podcast.
Miles Podcast.
Yeah, we are on YouTube currently and all social media platforms.
Cool.
But we would, give us a follow and share it with your friends, and then we'll have this. I'll let Daniel know when we post the podcast. But if you're on YouTube and you subscribe, then you'll be notified of everything every time we post a new one. But hey, thanks for taking the time to sit down. It was a pleasure to meet you. And hey, so welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm the host, Byron Duffin. I'm here with Jackson Hartley. We are here at the
Rocky Mountain
Bootstock.
It's the second year that Bootstock's been on. Rocky Mountain Bootstock 2024.
Awesome. Well, so tell me a little bit about yourself and about your musical journey. I learned a little bit about your brother.
That's kind of funny. So I grew up like him. We grew up playing guitar, and I loved like playing like live and all that. And I think I was 14 years old, and I was playing a gig at my hometown's like talent show, and I forgot the second verse of Tim McGraw's "Just to See You Smile," froze and walked off stage, and then didn't touch a stage for 7 years.
Really?
I was terrified. I refused to go play live. Like I was afraid to like play in front of other people. It truly scared me. And then I kind of just started messing around with it. And Cole was out touring. I was going along with all of his shows. Like I'm a professional videographer and photographer, and so I do all of his media. And so I was with him shooting media, and I was like, I like playing. Like, and I'd written a few songs, just kind of messing around. I was like, I don't know. And then they were doing a writers round just here in Orem, and at the end of it, I was like, hey, like, you mind if I go and play one song? And so I went and played one song. And that was like the first time I'd been up there, and like in the video, like my voice is so shaky, it's so bad. And that was actually that was last July.
Oh, really?
And so I in the last year have played 50, 60 shows, like just acoustically, just me. I have toured around with Daniel a little bit. I will come on and sing a few songs with him. And I played yesterday, which I loved. It was my best set I've ever played. And like felt like the most confident in my voice and my playing abilities and everything, and I loved it. I went to Nashville in April and recorded my first 3 songs, and then recorded a duet with Daniel that just came out last month.
Oh, perfect.
It's called We Ride, and
so it's on
all streaming platforms. And
great.
I have 2 songs out currently. My debut single dropped on May 24th. It's called Hit and Run. I actually wrote that with my brother. We were in Nashville, and we were stuck in the hotel room because of a storm, and I kind of held him hostage. I was like, hey, like, you want to write with me finally? And he's like, all right, we got nothing better to do. And we sat down and we wrote an amazing song. It turned out beautifully. And we had another fellow artist of our friends. Her name is Michaela Page. I had her sing backup vocals on it, and it sounds amazing. It's a beautiful song. And so that was my debut. And then I had another song in July come out called Damn Addiction that I wrote. I want to say I wrote that maybe in like December, and I loved it. And I was like, hey, I want to go record this one. And then I got my last of this batch coming out on the 20th of September. It's called Highway 14. I was in a severe car accident in 2021 where I rolled my truck 8 times down a 200-foot embankment.
Oh, wow.
And it's the song is telling the story of it. And to me, it was more of like, it was therapeutic for me to write and record the song. And when I got the track back from my producer before I went and recorded it, he's like, hey, like, are you driving right now? I was like, no. He's like, okay, like, I need you to like go sit down, and like, you're not going to be okay after listening to this. And just listening like to the instrumentals of it, like, just made me cry. It's a very emotional song, and it's a very like personal song. Obviously, it's telling my story, and like being able to see like where I've come from there to now is just absolutely crazy. And so,
well, the question that bears asking, because now you've piqued my interest, is obviously the backstory. But you mentioned a song prior to this one about addiction.
Yeah,
was that part of this or no?
No, it was not. Okay. That was not part of that. I don't know. Everybody's going through some sort of addiction. Oh yeah. I wrote it in a sense that everyone can relate. It's not. Sure. I didn't write it to expose me on anything or expose any of like my friends on anything. I wrote it in a sense that like other people can relate. It's a country rock song. It's really well produced. Our producer that my brother and I use, and Dan uses him as well. Like, he is an absolute wizard. His name's Mac. He's just so good. Max Gabriel. He's out in Nashville.
In Nashville. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I kind of gave him like my vision of it and like kind of like what I wanted, and he was able to throw it together and make it just sound absolutely beautiful. And it turned out exactly how I wanted it to. And I mean, like I'm kind of more like in like the depressed countryside. I think that's kind of like my aspect of writing. And we kind of threw in some like country rock with it, and it's so good. I
look forward to hearing
I love how it turned out. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's on all streaming platforms. My name's Jackson Hartley.
Well, Jackson, the cool thing about this job, what I do now, right? So I'm retired from the real world, but decided what was I going to do, and so we decided to do a podcast because we love music. We love live music. We've been from coast to coast, and so we seek this out. The cool thing is that we now here lately, almost every few days, I meet new artists.
That's awesome.
And new music. And you said that you made the comment that your producer says, hey, make sure you're sitting down. This is an emotional deal. It was interesting. My wife and I really lean towards the Texas country, red dirt, Oklahoma red dirt, Americana type. Anyway, so that was good.
You and your wife are more Texas Americana.
Yeah, Texas Americana, but we had the chance in the spring. Actually, it's in June. We went to Country Jam in Colorado.
Yeah, okay.
And cool. They have some great bands, and there was one whole day got canceled because of weather.
Because of the storm.
Yeah. Were you there? Or?
I wasn't, but we were supposed to be out there. We were supposed to get out there, and then it like last second fell through, and it actually worked out for the better for us.
Okay.
Because the next day we were actually playing up in Logan, Utah with the Bellamy Brothers, who were there.
Oh yeah.
Who were supposed to play that night.
That's who we wanted to see.
That's who they were supposed to play, but. And like we got to hang out with the band like prior and all that, and they're like, oh yeah, like well we were supposed to be there last night, but now we're here. We just kind of like hung out in the tour bus and was like, oh well,
right.
Glad we didn't make the trip out there.
They were we have never seen them live, but been fans of the Bellamy Brothers for 40 plus years. They're cool guys, and we love their music. So, but one of the headliners on Friday night actually was Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Jelly Roll fan. Now I don't watch a lot of modern country or listen to a lot of modern country, but love Jelly Roll and love his message and love his story.
Oh yeah, no, his story is incredible. Yeah. And like I continuously find myself looking back at the video of his Opry debut, telling the story with Craig Morgan. And
Craig played with him there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So Craig's we have a connection with Craig through my dad's work, and I've met Craig a couple times. He's a super nice guy, and
he's coming to Blackfoot in September.
Really?
Yeah, to the Eastern Idaho State Fair. So I would love to interview that guy if you got a connection for me.
I'll work my magic.
Work your magic.
I'll try. It's a very distant connection.
Yeah,
but
I get it. But
it's like the industry. You know somebody who knows someone who knows him. Like
I'm in that boat myself. But what I found so far, even in just a short term, if you don't ask, you're not going to get the opportunity.
Oh no, for sure.
So and be amazed. But back to Jelly Roll real quick. Jelly said, "Music finds us where we are." And
exactly.
Which really, so it speaks to each of us
exactly.
at that point in time in our life. He tells a story about, he said, I can tell you every song I heard first time, what jail cell I was in, who was my cellmate, what his name was. So music really impacted him deeply.
That's cool. And and I definitely think with my song Damn Addiction, there's nothing to be more true. Like that song will find you where you're at. And it will, and like the chorus is this damn addiction is ruining my life. The chances of her becoming my wife, no matter how hard I fight it, seems like I can't do nothing right. Leaves me feeling worthless, questioning if it was worth it, fighting this damn addiction.
Right.
And it, like, I don't know, just from the people that I've shared it with who have been going through addictions, and the people who have talked to me and like reached out to me after I posted it and was like putting it out on TikTok and on Instagram, like the responses that I've gotten have been so...
Yeah,
it's been beautiful.
Yeah,
they've been able to like, hey, like I relate to the songs, helping me. Like I'm listening to this consistently because I'm going through something hard right now. I'm going through an addiction that is ruining my life. I know it is. I'm aware of it, and that kind of is like how I wrote in the sense of like you're accepting that there is an addiction, there's a struggle, and you're wanting to fight for it. You're wanting to fight against it. You're wanting to do everything you can, but you're openly admitting it. That's what.
Well, and I think most people realize that. Obviously, music is therapeutic. It heals. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many wonderful things about music. Not only is it entertaining, but it's such a great healer. So, well, listen, Jackson. Everybody's busy. This was kind of off the cuff
for sure, last second.
And it's been fun. And I'm really thankful to Daniel that he invited me down.
I'm so glad he did as well.
And so we look forward to seeing you guys again from Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron. We'll see you somewhere down the road. Thanks, Jackson.
Awesome, sweet. Thanks so much.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey, music lovers. It's Byron with Musical Miles Podcast. And I am here with...
Kristen Cooper.
Kristen Cooper. If you'd come in a little closer to the microphone. There you go. Hey, Kristen, we are here at Bootstock, in Rocky Mountain Bootstock in Orem, Utah. So are you a local girl?
I am, yeah, born and raised
in Utah County. Sandy, okay. Yeah. I met another guy that actually interviewed on the podcast, one of the first podcasts I did, Skylar Gear. Do you know Skylar?
I don't.
You don't? Oh, he's a country guy from the area. Anyway, welcome. So tell me a little bit about your musical journey and how you got started and kind of what you do.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So, like I just grew up loving music, loving to sing. I would play my dad's CDs in the living room and just have a blast. I grew up listening to like Asia and Foreigner, Boston, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, more rock stuff, the classics. But, and then grew up, and I got my first guitar when I was 10. I was in Costco with my mom around Christmas time, and she was kind of like, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, I don't know. And then I saw this seafoam green guitar, and that's my favorite color. And so I was like, it just like called to me, and it was just like this moment that I knew I was going to play that. And so got it for Christmas, and then I just haven't put it down since. And so
same guitar. You still playing the same guitar? I
still have it. I mean, I have other guitars now, but like that one has like a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I still have my first guitar, which I've had for over 50 years.
Incredible.
So, but I didn't stick with it. So, but I play now.
Yeah.
But so what do you lean towards? What genre of music do you lean towards?
Yeah,
more pop.
So country pop. That's kind of that's what I've been really leaning into the last few years. And I'm just having a blast with it. So
who's the artist that you kind of really follow today?
So like Kelsey Ballerini, Maren Morris, Carly Pierce, Gabby Barrett. Those are some of my favorite.
And I'm not a big modern country person, but I love all four of those girls.
Cool.
They're all very, very talented. Kelsey Ballerini is truly one of my favorites, and Gabby Barrett. They're all very, very good.
Yeah.
So who inspired you? I mean, did you have someone in the family? Did your mom play? Your dad, or other than your dad's music collection?
Yeah, not really. they do other things.
Right.
So, but they were always really supportive.
Right.
I had my first guitar teacher. He was really like, if you want to be, a musician, you should write songs. And so he really encouraged me to write my first song, which I wrote about my dog.
Okay.
And I took it to him, and he was like, we don't need another dog song. And so I was like, oh man.
Bree Bagwell would beg to differ. I don't know if you know who Bree is, but she's a Texas artist
Cool.
that I actually got to see last week at BBR, and
Awesome.
she's big about pets and pet rescue. She actually has a song about her dog Whiskey. So
Awesome.
Anyway.
Cool. So yeah, so this from there, then I just started writing songs and going from there. In high school, kind of, was a big fan of Taylor Swift, and and started writing in my journal about the boys that I liked and the things in my life. And
you didn't write any hate on boys' songs, did you? Yet
I might have
you
a
might
couple.
Have. So have you gone to the process? Have you started recording some of these songs?
Yeah, I've been releasing music since 2019.
Awesome.
And I just released a new song 2 weeks ago that I'm really excited about.
Cool.
So yeah.
Well, what I've been sharing with all these, because you're all new artists that I've never heard before.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things about this is that we get to meet new artists and learn about. And trust me, I will go listen to your music. I'm not one of those guys who just I will listen. And figure out the stuff that I like.
Cool.
But I think that's so interesting because the world is so full of music.
It
I mean,
is.
there's so many opportunities to and everybody, and it's all different. That's what makes it unique, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what are your plans? Are you doing this full time, or do you have a real job?
I do have a job, and then I do music just like as much as I can. 'Cause
Sure.
I just love it, and like really, I fell in love with songwriting.
Okay.
So I love the performing side of it, and this year I've been really leaning more into that and trying to find more shows and open mics and things. But really, like my heart's always been in like the songwriting process and just like creating those stories, telling my stories, my friends' stories, and
Sure.
just, yeah.
So is this your first year to perform here? Because this is the second.
Yes.
Right?
So I actually met Daniel last year at Bootstock. I had a friend who knew him.
Okay.
And she invited me and said, "Hey, my friend's awesome. He's
Yeah.
playing. You should come."
Right.
And so we met, and then we've written songs.
Great.
We've played, songwriters nights
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And so I was really happy that he invited me to play this year.
Well,
So.
I think it's so cool, and this is such a unique situation here that you can have a small festival like this. And when Daniel shared that with me, I've been to the big festivals, and I love all the music, but they're so big and
yeah.
too many people. And anyway, but I love this, and I love the opportunity to meet new people and listen and do what we can to help your music grow and help you get a following. And
Well, we appreciate you. Yeah.
So, well, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, Musical Miles Podcast, excuse me, and the YouTube video is where we'll post this YouTube video. But so make sure you subscribe, so then you'll get notified.
Absolutely,
We've already got some great podcasts up and some stories that we've told, and some great songwriter stories about the backstories. And that's really what we're about. And this is we're just hitting the high points today. But somewhere down the road soon, we'll get back with each of you and we'll do a full-blown sit down, and we'll learn more about your music and know more what to share, and
Sounds
you can
good.
tell the story. So tell your name again.
Yeah, Kristen Cooper.
Kristen Cooper. Music is available on all streaming platforms.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we look forward to checking it out and hearing you play. Are you playing this afternoon?
I am. I'm up next.
You're up next.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we got to get over there. I got to go hear some music. That's why I'm here. This is too much like work. So anyway, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Hey, music lovers, it's Byron with Musical Miles Podcast. I'm here with Hailey Victor from
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, you're not a Utahn.
I'm not, no.
Well, welcome to Utah. I'm not a Utahn either. I live in Idaho.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What part of Idaho?
So we live 10 miles south of Idaho Falls.
Oh, awesome.
So we can see the Tetons from my backyard on a clear day.
Oh, beautiful.
It's not been very clear lately. We've got a lot of fires and stuff up there. But anyway, Albuquerque, New Mexico. My wife's actually an Arizonan, so she's from eastern Arizona, Sholo. You know where Sholo is?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so see, small world.
Yeah, very small.
So we are in Orem, Utah at the Rocky Mountain Bootstock, and you performed today or last night?
I perform with Kristen. I perform next.
Next. Oh, okay. Awesome. So how did you get involved in this?
Yeah. In the group?
Well, let me back up.
Okay.
Let me ask you your musical journey first. How did you get started in the music industry?
Yeah, I have been singing since my parents say before I could talk. I have just always loved music. My family is very sports oriented. I have 4 brothers and they all play football. My dad coaches football, and so my family is very much a football family, all American, you know. But both grandmas on both sides of my family, my mom's and my dad's, are both very musical.
Okay.
And I just kind of got that from them. Wasn't blessed with the athletic genes, but I do love music. So
yeah, but that I mean, you know, it'd be a boring world if we were all interested in exactly the same thing, whether it's sports or even music. I've actually, believe it or not, met people who don't like music, and I think that's weird.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get it either. But there are some out there. So, but it's cool that you have some background, some musical background, because not everybody does. And I love that story that your grandmothers, and they encouraged it, and love to hear you play, I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. They actually both passed away this last month.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
that. They do love it. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my wife, I've told this story and people hear it on the podcast all the time, but my wife came from a very musical family. Me, not so much. You know, farmer, farm boy, cowboy, you know, we were into the livestock and the horses and the rodeo world. And so, which connects. I mean, I grew up listening to a wore out tape of Chris Ledoux, right?
Yeah.
In the truck going to the rodeos. But so I've always loved music. My first concert was at 12 years old. I saw Three Dog Night. And so, do you even know who that is?
I don't know.
You know the song Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog?
Oh, yes, I do.
That's Three Dog Night.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it's just such a cool deal. And so you currently live in Albuquerque, or do you live here?
I currently live here. I'm
Okay.
going to school. I go to BYU.
Oh, you do? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you moved up here and you got to know these guys, is that how you made the connection here, or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Just one day I went on a date with somebody and he happened to know Daniel.
Okay.
And Daniel he needed a female to sing at a wedding with him that weekend. And so I jumped in, sang at a wedding with him, and he didn't think I sucked, so he kept me around.
Listen, yeah, if you can sing and people can stay in the same room with you, you don't suck. So that's good. That's a plus. That's a plus. Well, cool. So you are going to school full time.
I am.
What are you studying?
Elementary education.
Okay, not music.
Not music, no.
Does this not appeal to you for a full-time deal down the road, or that's just the backup plan in case this doesn't work out?
It's definitely the backup plan. Music is my passion. It's what I want to do forever. I am pursuing that full time, but I just also wanted to pursue an education.
Do you have any recorded music? Have you got anything on Spotify or?
I actually have my first song coming out next month.
Cool.
On all streaming platforms, actually with Daniel Beddoes. It's a duet that we wrote together.
Oh, great. Oh, awesome. Well, I'll be sure and hear that, because Daniel and I are kind of trying to work together a little bit and do this. So, well, this is great. Thank you for taking time to sit down with us and kind of tell us your story. You know, our whole motivation is it's all about the music for us.
Yeah.
And we want to share new artists, new venues, new festivals with music lovers, so they can come and experience it firsthand. So
yeah.
All right.
Thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks, Hailey. Appreciate your time. It's sure good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
All right. Music lovers, it's Byron with Musical Miles Podcast. I am your host here today, and I am with London Owens.
Yes.
And we are at Rocky Mountain Bootstock in Orem, Utah. But London hangs her hat in Liberty, Utah, which is, you want to tell people where that's at?
Yeah, so it's, if you know where Snow Basin is, like from the 2002 Olympics where they did the downhill and stuff, it's the little valley that Snow Basin's like in.
Yeah, really cool, beautiful little area. We actually, my wife rented a condo up there a few years ago for Thanksgiving, and we had the whole family up there, so it was really, really cool place.
Fun.
Yeah, it's really a neat little farming, ranching community.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my sons lived up there for the last couple of years. But anyway, we're here to talk about London and her music. And I just had the opportunity to watch her play in a singer-songwriter round here at Rocky Mountain Bootstock. And tell me a little bit about your musical journey, London.
I started playing guitar when I was 8.
Wow.
My parents really wanted me to do something other than sports, so I started playing guitar, and I've been playing for 10 years now.
That's
and
awesome.
Put out my first single 4 years ago.
Okay.
And then we've just been kind of producing since.
Okay, so is that single available on Spotify or all streaming music?
Yes.
Okay, is that the only song you have on?
No, I have 3.
3.
Yes.
Awesome. But I heard you say you've got a new single coming out, and you just played it. And It was beautiful. Tell me the story again.
So my guitar teacher, he's my best friend.
Sure.
And he knows everything about me, and I was just kind of talking to him about how it was hard for me to write a song like at that time, and he just said, "We'll write about like what you want in your life." So that's kind of what that song's about. Just kind of what I wish I could have.
Hopes and dreams.
Yes.
Wishes. Perfect. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. My wife always tells me, she said, you got to put it out there. So crazy story. This podcast is pretty new. So I found myself suddenly and unexpectedly retired the 1st of July. So what do? I'm not quite 65, so I'm 63 and a half. What am I going to do? Why don't we do a podcast? Of course, we know a lot about podcasts, but this podcast is very specific. It is very directed at the music. So live music, number one. We love music in general, but live music we seek out live music wherever we go. We love to go to festivals. We love to go to local bars. We like to go to wherever we can find live music, right? So our goal with this podcast is to promote the artist, promote the music. We love the songwriting. We love the storytelling part of it. We love the backstory. What made you write that? And we've been really fortunate. This has all happened really fast for us. We spent, I told you before we started, we spent a few days in Chalice, Idaho at the Brown Brothers reunion, which is very Texas country, Oklahoma red dirt, Americana genre focused. But they always draw a few in. Your dad might know this name. You probably won't. Steve Earle. You know who Steve Earle? Steve Earle was one of the headliners. Of course, Reckless Kelly and Mickey and the Motorcars. Wade Bowen. I mean, they draw a huge. This was the 40th annual. And the father, the dad, and his brothers, so Muzzy Braun and his brothers started it even longer than 40 years ago. But I just interviewed Muzzy last night in Bone, Idaho at this cool little venue. And what we want to do is we want to be able to introduce artists like yourself, up and comers, new artists, to venues that you don't know about. We have people in our own backyard that don't know about those venues. So this is our goal, is to share our love of live music, and the artists introduce you to the patrons, so that they can learn your music. This is one of the coolest things I've done since I've done this podcast. And of course, I've been from coast to coast and from Canada to Mexico. Actually lived in Hawaii and worked over there, and we sought out live music every chance we got. But the really cool thing is with this job now is I get to meet you face to face and ask you the questions. So, and learn more about you. So what would you, not to pigeonhole you, but would you consider yourself a country artist, or
yes.
What do you say? Definitely country. Yeah. No pop stuff coming out of you. Hardcore country girl. Okay. So what influenced you? I mean, besides mom and dad, I know they both play the guitar. So what artists really spoke to you?
We have a family friend, a country artist named Brent Hill.
Oh, and I know Brent. Yeah. I don't know personally, but yes, yeah.
He wrote Monster on Your Back, which is actually about my great grandpa.
Oh, cool.
So, and we've been to all of his concerts all around, and I've played a couple of shows with him, and he's just really been there to like support me and just help me out.
Sure.
So,
well, just put this bug in your ear. We'd love to interview Brent Hill on the podcast. So, where's he live?
Where? In Hooper.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hooper. That's over by Ogden,
yes.
kind of. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. We're interested in all comers. We just love music and want to share that music. And I'm well aware of Brent. Have never seen him perform, but know of him. So who else? Who else inspires you?
I love Chris Stapleton.
He's got a beautiful voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Me and my dad really like a band called Need to Breathe.
Okay.
pretty into them. I just.
Where are they based out
of? South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yes.
Need to Breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one word.
Okay. I'll have to check them out. Yeah. Well, and that's the other cool thing. So as we go and we meet new people and we hear new music, we find out about new artists, and that's what's so cool about this. We not all of them become the top of our list, right? Mm-hmm. But we also have a website that we're just getting up and running, and so we will be able to feature artists from the podcast. We want to feature artists' music. We're also going to start a foundation called Musical Miles Foundation and we're not quite sure where we're going to direct those funds, but we want to direct those funds in the music industry, whether it's through instruments for children or musical programs or whatever. So we're excited about all the opportunities and the cool things that are going on in the music world. So where do you want to go? Is this going to be your career, London?
I am going to school for nursing.
Okay.
And I love doing shows and playing music and stuff. So if one doesn't work out, I would love to do the other. And if the other doesn't work out, I would love to do the other.
Well, at least you got a backup plan. Dad's back there going, yeah, I think that. Well, who do you think is really female wise that really inspire you today?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Well, it's hard not to be inspired by Taylor. I'm inspired by Taylor just by her bank account, right?
I know.
She's extremely successful. Cool. Yeah. All right. So, so your first year at Weber, mm-hmm. You're going to Weber State University
on Monday.
Oh, start on Monday.
Yes.
In Ogden. Yeah. No. Isn't Monday Labor Day? Next week. Next week. Okay. Yeah. Hmm? Is Monday Labor Day? No, next week's Monday. Next Monday. Okay. I'm a little slow. These days all kind of run together when you don't have a real job. So, anything else you want to share with me?
I'm just excited to be here. This is fun. It's a fun experience.
Well, I'm glad I got to meet you, and I'm glad we got the opportunity. We also found out that you're related to somebody I know.
Yeah, that's
so cool. We're going to give a shout out to Ben and Jordan Tibbetts.
And Chalice. And Chalice. And JT.
And don't forget JT. No. You'll break his heart.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Great family in Blackfoot, Idaho. Not musical at all, but good people. Anyway, well, London, thank you for taking the time. I'm really, really lucky that I got to catch your show.
Yeah, thank you.
This is such a cool deal. And so the other thing, we want to help Daniel promote this little festival and hope turn it into something even bigger and better. So, but anyway, look forward to seeing you somewhere. Yeah. You need to follow us all of you, follow us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called Musical Miles Podcast on YouTube. We're on all social media platforms. Follow us, like us, click the subscribe button on the YouTube, because if you don't, you won't know when this podcast gets posted, right? And then go check us out and let us know what your schedule is. We're happy to post that on our social media and on our webpage. So thank you so much again for coming. And once again, for Musical Miles Podcast, I'm your host, Byron. We'll see you somewhere down the road. Adios.